What's up, everyone? Oh, put that this one. Was it that one I had on there? No, I don't think it was. Where's my? Oh, hope everyone has been doing well. No, we missed last week. We totally didn't even realize what the hell was going on, and we totally forgot what was going on. And we skipped last week's. So we're just gonna try to make it up for it today. Just try to do what we can. Just gonna try to go over some of the news with the VA. There's been a lot of things going on. Some people understand what's going on, some people don't. Some people have been realizing it, some people have not. Some people pay attention to it, most don't. I think that's the ongoing thing right now where most people are not paying attention to what's going on. There's a bunch of changes that are incoming and that are ongoing, and I think people need to realize that those changes are going to happen whether they like it or not. And also, this whole election process is going to be a big factor as to where things happen and how things happen. Let me see something. Where's my other? So that should be on vertical also. There we go. We are on vertical also, and we are on big screen, so be able to view us on either one. But a lot of the changes going on. We'll go to, let's see, main share screen. We got this. This is just the VA news. We're gonna go over real quick and just check it out from there. See what they have as information for people. Uh, Not a lot of the stuff is being updated, and a lot of stuff is not being put out for people to understand and know that there are changes incoming. The mental health rating and evaluations, that's something that has been announced already. It has been announced and it has been notified that this is what's going to happen. The date is so far set for April of 2025, which is where they're trying to make these changes in order to establish a new mental health rating and so on and so forth. The only big thing that I think may affect that is also this whole Project 2025, which some people are mentioning, some people are not. It does affect veterans to a certain degree. It is not a full-fledged thing that has already been announced, like, hey, this is automatically going to happen, this is what's going to happen. What people need to realize with that is that with Project 2025, there are instances that are trying to be introduced as new policies to change how veteran affairs works. Some are good and some may hinder people, and that's what I think people need to pay attention to, because they're not understanding and they're not visualizing that as they're not visualizing that form factor, I would say. Hold on. We might just end this one. I might just do it off the phone and just do the vertical off of the phone and just do the regular one as we regularly do. But that's one of the issues I would say that is ongoing that people don't realize, and I think people need to pay attention to more. So we'll end this one and we'll just do the regular one. Where is it at? And we'll do it that way, so that way we can try to get it done in that fashion. See how well it works. and do it off of the actual YouTube live off of my phone. But yeah, that's because for some reason it's not. Why is the stream set for July 13th? What type of nonsense is this? Let's see. I think that was the last one I had scheduled. And that way we just do it on both things and see how that works. Um yeah, because this one now I can visualize this one differently. Not sure which chat I had to remove though. Okay, so that one should be this one. But yeah, that's the main thing right now is people don't understand that that's what's ongoing. The changes being proposed by Project 2025 is basically changing it so that people are not going to be like, it's not very in-depth information. What they are trying to say is that they are trying to improve the speed at where people get their ratings done. So it's a process that they're trying to make it that it speeds up the process as to how veterans are being evaluated when they're going through CMP exams, when they're getting their ratings back. So it's not a year-long process or 6 months process. They want to make it so that the process ends up becoming a lot faster and a lot quicker so that people can take care of it, which I understand that, but they've been trying to do that now for some time. And I think the ongoing issue right now is just that it's not working. The methods that they are trying to implement and they're trying to add are not being done in the proper manner. They're not being viewed in the proper manner. And I think is what's causing the biggest issue is just that we as veterans are not paying attention to that. Like, yes, it is a benefit to have the process be expedited or quickened up. The only issue is that a lot of these processes are not being taken care of in the right manner. So to say, when people have to deal with, let's say, CMP exams, people deal with CMP exams and they don't understand what they're supposed to go through when they're going through these CMP exams. Like, some people don't understand what the process of the CMP exam is, what they're supposed to learn, what they're getting taught, what they're actually going to be asked. And it's just like the preparation factor is different. A lot of people shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to the the CMP exams because of the fact that they don't know exactly what it is they're supposed to say or how they're supposed to answer. I'm not saying you're supposed to answer in a lie or over exaggerate. It's just the fact that when you're talking to the CMP examiner, you have to be able to speak to them and tell them what your issues are and not just what you're dealing with on that day. And I think that's what shoots a lot of veterans in the foot, is the fact that they go into these CMP exams, they start talking about how they're doing that day. And on that day, most of the time, you may be doing better. You may not have those ailments. You may be fully medicated when you're doing that CMP exam. So when you're doing that CMP exam, you might be medicated to the point where you don't feel that leg pain, you don't feel that back pain, and it's just like that's something that you gotta keep in mind. That's something that is a part of the process that people need to understand. If you're not aware of what's going on and you're not aware how you're supposed to talk, how you're supposed to answer these questions, you're hindering yourself. Because the thing is, the CMP examiner is going to ask you, hey, are you in pain right now? And a lot of people tend to say, no, I'm not in pain right now, or no, I'm not dealing with any issues at the moment. And that's kind of sets the tone for the CMP examination. So if you're saying you don't feel the pain right now, you have to add that extra part where it's just like, yeah, I'm not feeling the pain right now, but I always feel it throughout the day. Like today is one of those better days where it's not as hurting because I'm on medication and I'm here at the CMP exam. So that's a statement you have to put in there so that way it's like clarification as to, hey, you have this issue. I have this issue. The issue isn't as bad today, but on other days it is terrible. Like I can't do this, I can't do that. And then you start going into the explanation of it. And a lot of people don't do that with their CMP exams. They just be like, oh yeah, I feel good. I feel better today. And once the CMP examiner hears that, it was just like, well, this isn't that bad of an issue if you're telling me you feel good today, but then you don't elaborate on when you don't feel well. So that's something that people need to understand. But at the same time, that changes on the CMP exam depending on what you're getting evaluated, depending on what's being visualized, what's being checked. There's different questions that are asked because each CMP exam is a different issue. It's not the same questions that are being asked of you or to you, depending on the ailment, depending on the disability, whether it's on your hip, on your left side, on your right side, or you're claiming something as a secondary of your left side to your right side. Like those little instances change depending on what you say. And it's always, you have to make sure that you're painting the picture for the person to let them know, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the issue I currently have. This is what I am trying to, how would I say? This is what I'm trying to, I'm trying to establish the fact that I am having these issues and this is what's ongoing with them. I have an ankle injury. Because of this ankle injury, sometimes my ankle gives out. Sometimes I have issues with running or walking. I can't walk for a certain amount of distance and stuff like that, and then it flares up. Stuff like that is something you have to be explained. Just by you saying, "Oh, my ankle hurt," don't really do much to it. But that goes into the CMP evaluations, and that's something that they're trying to fast track with Project 2025. The other issue being with the Project 2025 is that a lot of parts that, like, that's the part that a lot of the veterans hear and a lot of people, that are going through disability claims and stuff like that, or have been waiting a long time to try to get their disability done or claims processed. They're just listening to that part. They're just listening to the part where it's like, oh, we're trying to expedite it so that you can get your evaluations faster, you can get your rating faster, or you can find out your outcome faster. And the problem with Project 2025 is just like they're not highlighting or making a statement of the secondary part. The secondary part of that is that they are trying to remove some of the stuff that you may claim. So they didn't specify what, and that's what I think is most concerning to people, because with Project 2025, it's just like it's kind of like a guideline thing that they're trying to push and they're trying to influence and they're trying to put into place, but they're not specifying what it is that they're going to make these changes to. And I think that's one of the biggest issues right now that we're dealing with, is that it's a very generalized issue. It's just like, oh yeah, we want to speed up the process so that veterans get their disability ratings faster. We want to do that, but we also want to take away certain claims. So there's a lot of people that don't understand that. A lot of people get to their 100% P&T off of secondaries. So if you're getting your secondary evaluation or your secondary issue is basically, hey, I have this injury, but this has aggravated this or this has caused this. Project 2025 is trying to talk about removing some of those issues, removing some of those secondary factors, removing some of those abilities to be able to use a secondary claim. Because they're trying to say, like, hey, some people do deal with disability issues, but they're saying that some of them are not military related, which I think is kind of an issue because the thing is off of your service and off of what happened, something might have caused something else. But with Project 2025, it's basically stating, yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with the military. So we're not going to give you this disability claim, or you're not going to be able to claim this and get a rating or a percentage off of something that had nothing to do with the military. So that hinders a lot of veterans, because a lot of veterans, like as veterans know, is just like when we deal with one issue, it starts with one thing, which aggravates something else, which then aggravates something else. And the thing is a lot of veterans use that as, hey, I have back issues, but my back issues have caused this. Now that issue is getting worse, and now that's causing this. So it's just like that connecting factor. But if you remove that connecting factor for a lot of veterans, that takes away a lot of possibilities for them to get to 100%, or it takes away a lot of the stuff that actually is an ailment for them. So if you have a back injury that turns into like the sciatica, which turns into numbness in your leg, which turns into issues on your foot, or you're on one side and you have injuries on your one foot, and then that causes for you to overcompensate on your right side and your right side issues. Project 2025 is making it seem like, oh, you know what? We don't care about that because that didn't happen because of service. What happened was you injured your back, but you're trying to claim that sciatica came off of your back, your ankle messed up, and your hip got messed up, and now your other side is hurt. They're trying to eliminate that factor for veterans, and I think that's what veterans need to concern themselves with. Because the good, like I said, the good sounding part is like, hey, we're gonna make sure you get your ratings faster. Cool. Everybody can agree with that. Everybody can be happy with the fact, like, hey, your ratings are gonna get faster. They're gonna get processed faster. The problem is that secondary part is where people are missing out on and not paying attention to the fact that it's just like, hey, you're also going to lose the ability to claim a bunch of stuff. So that also is what's going to speed up the process, and people are not tying that together. So it's just like, yeah, if you have less to claim, your process is going to go a lot faster. But the thing is when you have that primary claim and then you have those secondary to those secondaries, you have to get a CMP exam for those secondaries. You need to get evaluated for those secondaries. But if they're eliminating that, yeah, the process is going to go, because instead of you having 3 different CMP exams, now you're only going to deal with that one CMP exam because of your back. But there goes the sciatica that's caused by it, the numbness in your leg that's caused by it, the ankle for you compensating, or it hurts, or your ankle on the other side. That goes, all that goes away. So yes, your evaluation and your rating is going to go through. Cam Loco, thank you for showing some love. But that's the thing that people aren't understanding. It's just like, yeah, it's going to be beneficial to people because, yeah, your rating is going to go faster, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to claim the same ratings, the same disabilities that you thought you were going to be able to claim and you were able to get something from. You're not going to be able to, because they're seeing it as like, well, this isn't a military related injury. This is something that happened after the fact, and it's a secondary. It's a separate cause. It's not something that happened directly in the military. So basically that's why. But the thing is within there, they're not putting it as, they're not specifying it. And that's what I think is the biggest problem, because then the thing is that leaves a lot of leeway for people to get information. Crazy, what's up? And that's what I think people don't understand. It's just like, if you making this Project 2025 one thing and you're talking about it, but the thing is, it's just like a general thing. It's just like, hey, look, we're just going to touch on this just to touch on it. We're not going to say much else because we don't want to get too in depth, but we want to make the stuff and we want to say what we want to say that veterans are going to be appreciative of, and they're going to help, and they're going to be like, yes, I can get behind Project 2025 for that. Why? Because they're saying my ratings and my evaluations are gonna go faster. So every veteran right now that's been waiting those 6 months or waiting on a higher level appeal or review board, when you hear, oh, your stuff is going to get processed faster, people are just like, yes, I don't need to wait a whole year or 2 years or whatever the time frame may be, because there's veterans that have been fighting the VA for like 15 plus years just to try to get their ratings done. So when you hear that, Project Hope, I think they call it too, but I just know it as Project 2025 from the Hope Foundation. But that's what they're trying to influence that to veterans, because the thing is veterans is not gonna ask the first part is what the veterans is gonna listen to, and that's gonna be like, hey, your ratings are gonna go faster, your evaluations are gonna go faster. I was just like, the evaluations and the ratings go, sometimes they go pretty fast now. Like you can get a CMP exam pretty quickly. The problem is that it takes so long for them to go through everything to actually give you your ratings. But then, like I said, as you're asking for it, if you have multiple ratings and you have one rating, which is the main rating, and then all these secondaries, they look at that primary rating. They look at that back issue. Like I said, we started with the back. They're going to look at your back issue. Once you have that back issue and they look at that back issue, that's when it goes to, this is where we're at. You have these back issues. Cool. You claimed this, and that off of your back issues. If they were to tell you those issues are not military related, how much of a percentage loss is that? Because remember, you got to get, it's like about 240% or something. You have to get 200 plus percentage in ratings in order to get to that 100%. And a lot of people don't understand that because they're not getting that. They're not going to that point. They're not acknowledging the fact that you need all that percentage. You need all the percentage you can get to your claim and to be able to get to 100% P&T. And then the thing is some of these claims, some of them are not static. So that's the other thing. Some of these are issues that the VA sees as like, hey, you're going to be able to get better from this. You're going to improve. You're going to get better. We're going to have to evaluate you again. And those are issues that cause even more issues down the road. Because the thing is if they evaluate your back and your back starts to get better, then that means that opens up the can of worms to all the other secondaries you have. Basically, like, well, if your back is better, that means your sciatica probably isn't as bad. That means your ankle ain't bothering you as bad because now you ain't, and now your right side isn't overcompensating for the pain that you get on the left side. So now everything should be getting better. And that's what people don't understand. People don't realize that once you have one issue, that once your primary issue is better and you have all these secondaries connected to it, you lose out on all those percentages. Why? Because they're going to reevaluate you for that. And a lot of veterans don't understand that. They just think that it's just like, oh, I got my stuff reduced and people just checked it. No, because the thing is with a lot of veterans, a lot of their stuff is secondary stuff. Like a lot of stuff isn't a primary claim. A lot of stuff was not acknowledged or received as a primary disability claim. It wasn't, you didn't get a rating just for that. You got the primary, which was your back, but then you got all these other things that you put as secondary to it. So if your primary rating goes, your secondary rating is going to go. Now, it's different when you have everything as a primary. So if you have service connected separately for your back, sciatica, your ankle, your hip, your right side, stuff like that, then it's different because the evaluations gets better. Marcus Williams, nothing gets better. I'm always in pain. And I understand that, Marcus. But the thing is it's how do you explain that to the CMP examiner that makes the biggest thing? Because the thing is you being in pain, the one thing a lot of veterans don't realize is that the CMP examiner don't really care for your pain. Yeah, it sucks to say that, but it's something that veterans need to hear. They don't really care about the pain you deal with. Because the thing is every veteran deals with pain. The thing is what they're concerned with is like, yes, it's painful, but how does it mess up your daily activities? And that's what a lot of people don't know how to voice and how to let the CMP examiner know so that they understand that. And I think that's the main thing that people are missing. It's just like, yes, we're in pain. Shit, I'm on pain meds now just to talk to y'all. That's why I can sit here a couple of hours sometimes, is because I take my medication before I sit down. I was just like, all right, let me talk to these veterans, but I need to take my medication. But the thing is it's constant pain. When you go to those medical exams, when you go to the chiropractor, you keep going to the chiropractor. When you go to the massage therapy, you do that. When you go to physical therapy, you do that. You always letting them know when they ask you, so what's the pain level at today? It's like 4, 5. Shit, it's at an 8 today. And it's just like you let them know that, and that's something that they keep track of. So that's something you got to do. The thing is, it's just like a lot of veterans, what they don't understand is just like, just because you're doing better that day does not mean, okay, I gotta say I'm doing great today. I'm doing better today. You can say that, but you got to continue the sentence of, look, I'm feeling better today, but this past week and this past month, I've been dealing with this, and that. I've had problems getting up. My back has given out on me a couple of times, stuff like that. When you say it like that, then the CMP examiner understands. It's just like, oh, okay, you're doing better today. Like, you're having a good day today, but you have the other stuff. What, Marcus, if you don't mind me asking, what are you rated as right now? What is your percentage? Let me open up this door. But that's the thing. It's just like, if you're missing work, you're missing family functions due to injuries and stuff like that. That's something that you're at 90. So then what it sounds like to me is like you need to file for increases on certain aspects. Like certain things you just need to file an increase so that they increase and they give you a higher percentage for the issues that you're currently dealing with. Because the fact that it's just like, if you're always in pain, like I said, the VA don't really pay attention to how much pain you're in. Remember, you have to look at the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Chapter 4, Part 1, disability ratings, and like I always do, I always end up pulling it up. 6 set up. I don't 6 set up my guy. Oh, okay. I was just like, hold on, I wasn't understanding what you said. Appreciate it. Even better info. No, but that's the thing. I appreciate that. It's just like, that's the stuff that us as veterans need to be able to reach out and tell other veterans, is the fact that it's just like, you have your issues. It's like you have to explain them and you have to file for increases. If your injuries are worse, you have to look at the Code of Federal Regulations. See, there you go. And that's what it is. And it's just like, once you do that, it's just like, you got to remember, a lot of people don't realize when it comes to like knees, joints, back, foot, it's your movement, how you're able to move. Like they're supposed to pull out the little, I forget what it is. It's like the little thing that has like the degrees on it and stuff. They're supposed to take that out and evaluate you off of that, how you're able to move. So the more you're able to bend, the less likely they'll be like, oh, well, he ain't that bad. I was like, well, he could touch his toes. His back ain't that bad. Because they tried that with me. They tried to say that my back wasn't too bad. But then once they saw the MRI and they saw the discs that were not in place, they were like, well, okay, he's having one of those better days. But then I explained that, and it was just like, yeah, I have days like today. I can bend over and touch my toes. But then there's days I can't even, I'm stiff. I was just like, I'm a damn pole just standing there that I'm just like rotating like this. And it's just like, but I explained that to him, and that allowed him to see that. Because the thing is, like I said, if I'm able to touch my toes, they're going to look at it as like, man, your back is not messed up. But then I explained, it was just like, yeah, today you only reach the mid thigh, and that's fine. That's what they go off of. They check it and they evaluate you off of that. But if y'all don't know, you have to check the Code of Federal Regulations, and that's where everything. Let's see. I'll pull it up real quick. And this is it right here. Let me switch to it. So this is the Code of Federal Regulations right here. This is what I always show people. This is the This is the main factor where people need to realize that when they're going to these CMP exams and they're going to these evaluations and all that stuff, this is what you need to research. This is what you need to look at. This is what you need to find. Because this right here is what gives you that information you need. There's nothing else that's going to give you the information that you need to get better stuff. And that's the thing. Scarecrow. I was 100% 3 times. Finally, the third time was PNT. You have. Yeah, and that's what a lot of veterans don't understand. It's just like we have to keep fighting for it. Also, I was just like, just because you got denied Scarecrow, that means you got to go back and just load yourself up better, prepare yourself better. You got to get your documentation, and that's what a lot of people don't have. Get yourself documentation. Go to your physical therapy. Go to all that stuff. Ask for those documents, and when they ask for it, and you file that next claim, upload all that documentation. It's your record. You can go to a private doctor and get all that information, and you can upload that as part of evidence. And then you get a nexus letter from that doctor like, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened. He has these injuries. Nexus letter. The doctor signs off on it, and he explains what they are and how they're connected to your time in service. You put all that in there, and you get buddy statements. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You got to use buddy statements. You got buddies, even if it's people that are around you, even shit, your spouse can be a buddy, your good time friend, the dude that you go have a beer with every now and then. Whatever the case may be, you can find those buddy letters, and that helps paint the picture also for veterans like that get denied or don't have it. But the thing is just like, yes, TRICARE Online does have that, and they have the service records there because they upload them before. Like, so they're supposed to upload them when you're looking for it. You're supposed to be able to find that. But the thing is, a lot of people don't even get a copy of it when they're getting out, and I think that's a bigger issue. Where it's just like a lot of people don't see that, and oh shit, I just realized I'm streaming on mobile and I'm streaming on my PC also. So I have the picture of the Code of Federal Regulations on that one. But with this one, it's just a thing. I can't really change it over, but same thing. But that's what people don't realize is just the fact that it's just like all that information needs to be processed. You need to process that information. You need to have that information, and you need to keep fighting these people. Because the thing is a lot of the times with the VA, it was just like, maybe that first time when you went, you weren't as prepared. You didn't know what you had to say to the CMP examiner. Maybe, like I said, you went to that CMP exam and you felt great that day. Like your back was in place, your knees weren't hurting, you were able to walk, you were able to do that. And then you spoke on it like that. And then that already paints the picture of just like, okay, he has injuries, but they don't affect him that bad. But once you start saying daily stuff like, hey, I can't, like there was one gentleman I had one veteran that came on here, and he was having back issues also. And I was just joking around, just like, look, man, you can get a buddy statement from your neighbor, like you can't cut your grass no more. And little be known, he actually could not cut his grass. I was just joking, like making like a little random scenario. It was just like he could not actually cut his grass when I said that. And I was just like, that's perfect. Because now you can write a buddy letter or a statement from your neighbor stating, hey, I can't cut my grass. My neighbor can't cut his grass, so I'm here cutting his grass to do it. Yo, my man, what's up, man? And that's the thing. It was just like you gotta do it that way. And then once you put that way, that it's just like, hey, my neighbor is stating that I cannot cut my grass, and he cuts my grass because of my back issues. Because he noticed that my grass would keep on growing taller and taller, and I could not cut my grass. So he decided to ask, and I told him, hey, my back was messed up, and he decided to cut my grass. And he put that into a statement. That's a statement right there, because it paints the picture for the CMP examiner to let you know, like, hey, you're injured. You can't do the daily activities, which, hey, if you got a front yard, you got a backyard, and you got to cut your grass, and you got like a housing or something, you got an HOA or something, and somebody's coming after you, it's like, hey, man, we can't be having this grass so tall. I was just like, but your back don't allow it. That's something that you need to make sure you're mentioning and saying that, because then that paints a picture also. It's just like, hey, it avoids me doing that, and it's adding an extra stressor to my life, which can go into mental health also. Just connecting that, it's just like, but that's something that you won't be able to connect like that, but you can make that as a statement like, hey, my stress levels and my anxiety has been increasing due to the fact that I can't even cut my grass, and I got the HOA on my ass trying to make sure I cut the grass. Stuff like that. Like, those are the things that people don't realize, that is just like all that stuff is connected in a way where veterans need to put that together. If you get denied for anything, a denial is a denial. I understand that. Read what it says on that letter that they send you as to why it got denied. Because sometimes I'm like, the one thing that baffles me a good amount of the time is just like, people will go and they'll sign up, they'll do the stuff, they'll do the CMP exam, do all that. The ratings document comes back and it says, oh, not service connected. But it said it found evidence within. And I was just like, how the hell does the person get denied, but within the same paper they sent to you, it says that there is evidence? So when there's something like that, that's something you need to appeal. And the thing is a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people just go and try to refile the claim. You can't just refile claims. You need to stop refiling the claim. You need to appeal it. The appeal process may take longer, but you need to do it that way. Yo, Military Mike, what up, my man? But that's something that people need to realize, is just like, just because you got denied, but if that document says that there is evidence showing it, it's like, okay, there's something showing in my records that I did have this. Now I just have to make sure I double down on it. So basically, if there was information in my records about it, I could go to an outside entity and get that stuff. If you have a CMP exam, I recommend requesting an examiner has more than 0 through 1 year experience. So Marcus, with that, it really depends, because the thing is the CMP examiner, it really depends on the CMP examiner. It doesn't really matter what the experience is. At least in my case, I'll say that. That don't matter, Scarecrow. It don't matter what you did. What happens? If you're in the military, you went through some issues. You did some rucking, you did some running, you did some push-ups, you did a bunch of stuff. Hey, Double Speak Telecast, appreciate you. And it's just like, you did something in it. Look, if you served in the military and you did some time in the military, you got injured at some point. You might have sucked it up. You might have said, you know what, I'll man up and I'll do it. But you got injured at some point. There's some documentation of you getting injured, or you hurt yourself and you just didn't get it notated. But the thing is that's what makes it difficult with veterans to prove. Because the thing is if you never show anything in your records, it's hard for the VA to be like, well, yeah, this is service connected. But that's when you have to go to an outside entity. You have to go to your private doctor or whatever the case and get a nexus letter and be like, look, this dude got these injuries and they're connected to his time in service. Like, if you got bad knees, you were running. You were running. I don't care what anybody tells me. If you were in the military, you were running. Simple as that. Simple as that. Like he just said, you have ringing in the ears from the shooting range using faulty earplugs. Shit, remember 3M? I don't know if some of y'all, I know a couple of veterans signed up for the 3M lawsuit. I thought it was bullshit, to be honest with y'all. I thought it was bullshit. I thought they were not going to be paying out anything and stuff like that. And then I had a couple of friends. I had a friend from basic training that called me. Hadn't spoken to him in a couple of years. He was like, hey man, did you get paid? And I was just like, paid for what? He said, man, the 3M settlement thing, they sent me like, I think he said he got paid like $6,000 off of the settlement. Some people got some pretty good checks off of those settlements, but it was because of what? The faulty earplugs. So it's just like, if you have tinnitus, that's one thing. Tinnitus doesn't just randomly happen to people. Civilians don't randomly just end up with tinnitus. You were firing weapons, you were around artillery, you worked with tanks, you were a mechanic, you did all that stuff. See, that's stonks and chumps. That's the thing. I think the problem with the problem going right now is the fact that people are not being notified of this. All of active duty, I try to reach out to the active duty. All the people I served with that are still in, they know about my channel. They tune in every now and then. They see my videos, or they actually message me directly like, hey man, what do I need to do? And it's just like, get stuff notated. I tell people just like, don't be prideful. Don't try to suck it up. You get any injury, just go. Go to sick call. It doesn't mean you have to get a profile for it or get anything for it. Just you going to the doctor and them putting it in your record like, oh, his back was hurting a little. That at least starts something. That starts a paper trail down the road. Because the thing is it could have happened at the beginning of your career, but then after all that rucking, all that running, you did the, what is it, the ACFT now that does the deadlift. You might have done the deadlift a bit wrong and your back just, kind of, that little thing might have just furthered worsened the first little twitch you had at the beginning of your career. And stuff like that happens. Did my TBI in 2012. The CMP exam person asked me, do you recognize those animals? And to let her know when I hear a tap and was denied for TBI. See, in cases like that, them 20 miles that Roberto knows. That's what I'm saying. If you were doing those rucks, if you look into the science behind it, people are not supposed to be rucking with that much weight that we have on there. We're not supposed to be doing those rucks like that. And then depending on your unit, you could have been doing that shit weekly, sometimes a couple of times a week, and it's just like 45 plus pounds on your back. Ask a doctor how normal that is for people to do that. It's not. Shit, you have problems with little kids trying to, they tell them like, man, you shouldn't be carrying all of them damn books. And that's little kids. That shit ain't 45 plus pounds. Plus, you probably got you either got a 249 on you or you got something heavy. You got the damn pack. Like, y'all know what I'm saying. That ammo, you know them damn ammo cans. You carrying them things around. That's a lot of weight that you have that is on top of your knees, your hips, and your back. That's stuff that gets put in there, and you gotta do that. Your brain wants to deal with the pain eventually. And Marcus, that's the thing that's why I tell a lot of people, yeah, easy. And that's what I'm saying. That's not even with the ammo. That's not even carrying your shit, whatever you had on you, your kit, all the rest of your kit. Like it adds a lot, and you're doing that weekly, sometimes multiple times a week. So you're doing that multiple times a month. That's not even counting when you're running after. So you probably did that ruck the day before. And then the next day talk about, hey, we're going to do a 5-mile run. Like, bro, I just rucked 20. Why, bro? It was just like, and what do? Like Marcus said, we just started numbing the pain. And people get used to that. Yeah, sick cause AWOL. Yeah, they would just try to make you like that. Tore pelvic muscle on his final ruck in basic. The next day he couldn't walk. 5 years later, they tried to say that his injuries were in his head and would relieve themselves upon discharge. See, and that's one of the big issues. That's, I think, one of the big issues that we deal with right now is just the fact that a lot of people don't double speak. Hold on. The salute. I didn't see, where would you put the other one? All I saw was facts, double. When you put facts. But that's what it is. It's just like, look, CMP examiners, like mentioned before, like you want to ask for somebody that has experience. That's not always the case because it depends on the CMP examiner. Some CMP examiners know what that, look, the CMP examiner I had when I went for my ankle injury actually put shin splints on my claim without me having to do it. So it depends on the CMP examiner. Some of them actually have like a military background and they're just getting started in doing CMP exams and have family members that do it. And some, the ones I would say, if you want to ask for somebody that has some sort of military knowledge behind them. Because the thing is when you go to a random civilian and stuff like that, they're not going to look what we just spoke about these rucks and this running and the weight. They don't understand none of that shit. They don't understand that you were rucking continuously. They don't understand that. They don't mention that. They don't say anything about that because they have no idea what the hell it is you're talking about. So if you go to a CMP examiner and they have some military background, those cadences, man, some of those cadences made you run through walls at that point. I went to the TMC and sick call for 2 different injuries of each shoulder, dislocation during training and PT, but the VA didn't include them in my percentage. So you have to ask for those things and just like, see, and that's what I'm saying. It depends on your CMP examiner. I started training after boot camp. I haven't filed for benefits. Well, if you got look anything, the thing I have to tell you when it comes to starting your disability claim, you have to ensure you have documentation. Documentation. Get imagery. If you can get x-rays, you can get MRIs, you can get a damn CAT scan, you can get all that stuff. That's what you need to start with. Because the thing is you have the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans. You have the American Legion. You have the Veteran of Foreign Wars. You even have the Wounded Warrior Project. They have people also. There's a lot of organizations, but the thing is if you do not have your documentation, it don't matter what organization you go to. You can go to the best VSO in the country. If you don't have any documentation, that person is not going to be able to do it for you. And that's the thing. You have to make sure Disabled American Veterans, Foreign Wars, all that stuff, you have to have it notated. Get an MRI, get an x-ray, have that. Start getting your buddies together and start putting them together so they can make statements about it. If you're in active duty, it's easier because you can file the benefits delivery by discharge when you're getting out, which happens between the 90-day mark. You have to do it within 180 days to, the benefits delivery at discharge, which is the BDD. You do that from 180 days to 90 days of your ETS date, and you will get evaluated. You'll get your CMP exam. If you have any mental health issues, they'll do that. BDD is the benefits delivery by discharge. So basically, when you're about to exit the military, you can go and get your evaluations. You can do your ratings and all that stuff, your disability claims. You do that before you're getting out. So by the time you're out, basically when you ETS within a week or 2 of you ETSing, you will have your percentages and know what your rating is. And then from there, then you can start the whole appeal process and stuff like that. But by the time you're out officially and ETS, within 2 weeks, you have all the information you need and you have the document, you have your ratings paper, and you should receive that letter saying like all that stuff like that. And you do it that way. If you're active duty, invoke your box warrants and know what they are. If you ask for the pamphlet, the hospital has to give it to you. And that's no problem, Mike. And no problem, bro. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do these. It's just like you have to make sure that you have that stuff, because you can do, if you're still in the active duty, and that's why I say, if y'all know active duty service members, tell them that. Tell them, hey, get your shit together. If you get hurt, go get seen. Stuff like that. That's why I just like, I'm trying to teach us veterans that are already out and are struggling to get to that 100%. But then we also got to remember, we got to help the people that are still active duty that are going to try to become 100% so that they're better off. And it's easier for them. Just because we have to struggle with it doesn't mean they have to struggle with it. So that's something we have to make sure that we're teaching them so that they understand that. But the thing is just like, wherever you go to, you have to have the documentation. Those buddy statements or witness statements go a long way. Why? Because it allows the CMP examiner and the VA to see that, like how they said, which is fucked up, but it was just like, oh, the injuries are in their head. No, so-and-so was here with me. Look, yeah, I was there when military Mike got injured. I saw when he sprained his ankle. He was hobbling for the next 6 months, that he couldn't run, stuff like that. He was still forced to do the run because he wasn't given a profile, stuff like that. And that caused him to do stuff like that. And it's just like, hey, Chadrick, no problem, man. This is, y'all see the hat. Y'all see the stuff in the back. Yeah, it's like, I'm a veteran. I gotta help people out. And it's just like all that stuff is just like no matter how minuscule your injury may be while you're in or while you got out, if you have documentation for it, it allows you to fight easier. Because the thing is what a lot of veterans have issues with after they've been out for some time and they try to file is just that, oh, you have to make that connection now. Yes, and a lot of people think that PTSD is just while there, while you were in a combat zone, and people need to understand that PTSD can happen at any point. It could be a sexual assault claim. It can be you were around a certain thing that happened. Like shit. For me, one of it was there was a service member, a friend of ours, that basically got run over by a PLS truck. There was splatter everywhere. Like it was a very gruesome scene. And people wrote buddy statements. People wrote that for that issue. If you were around a training exercise, if you were in a car, a vehicle accident, a vehicle rollover, stuff like that, a lot of people don't realize that they went through till after the fact. They don't realize like, damn, I did roll over that one time. Because the thing is a lot of the stuff you went through in the military, you don't even remember all those little instances. You know, you have those glimpses of the great times, right? And then you remember those damn, that shit sucked that day. But well, see, that's a good question right there. Got it in 2017 and they had my records and gave me a rating, but they said they couldn't include my shoulders dislocation for some reason, even though I had gone to them to get checked out and documented. So Maritza, in your case, you can go to a VSO, like I said, DAV, Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion, the Wounded Warrior Project, any of those organizations that it's a veteran organization that has a VSO, or you can go also on the va.gov site and look for the veteran service organizations. You can actually search for it, which the VA recognizes them. You can search for it through there. Let me see. I'll see if I got the link for it. Give me 1 second. See, here's this link for anybody that needs to find somebody to go talk to or something like that. Y'all can click on that link, and that link right there will give you basically you can search for a veteran service officer that's accredited and is recognized by the VA. You can search for that. It searches by state, county. You can go in depth and it'll show you the thing. Some of them have phone numbers, some of them do not. Some of them are tied to these other organizations, but you should be able to contact them and get the information like that. Federal buildings usually do have it. Not all of them have a thing though, Roberto. Something I'll do because I tried fighting the ratings before, but they rejected me. I'm going to look at these servers. Yeah, if you look at the thing is look, this is what I tell people. All this information is free and available. You can go to a VSO and the VSOs are not going to charge you because there's a lot of entities that did that. You retired on the 4th. When is your ETS date, Mike? Because that might have just been S6 that forgot to fucking revoke your rights. But when is your official like contractual date, or was that the 14th? Because the thing is it'll probably expire within a month or two because it probably needs to be recertified, and you not being in the system, that'll happen. But then you also got to go get your ID card. Remember that. You need to get your retired ID. Nah, it won't last that long. It won't last that long. I assure you it won't last that long. They'll fix that. But yeah, when it comes to that, all these organizations are free organizations. Like sometimes you can even go into the VA. If you go into the VA hospital, like the one I go to in Topeka here in Kansas, they have two VSOs that work at the hospital. Some have them, some don't. ED is one that you can claim, but the thing is just like you don't need evidence because the thing is they can't test for that. But the thing is once you're on medication all the damn time, they know that all those medications cause that. and that happens for females and for males. It's the arousal. I forget what it is for females. It's something arousal like that. Your medication can do that. If you're on antidepressants, you're on muscle relaxers, you're on always on stuff. All that stuff does that, and it causes issues to you. Look into the VA HUD launch programs to help veterans experience seen homelessness. The homelessness thing I was looking at, and they're trying to improve that, and they're trying to change that. Yeah, if your ED can be claimed with no issue as long as you are taking medications. If you have been taking medications for quite some time, the VA understands. It's just like, look, they know all them damn things mixed is not good for people, but they don't give a shit because that's what they're gonna push. Because if people want medication, they're gonna give them medication. That's how they work with them. But it's just like, if you have that stuff, it's easier to claim. Why? Because you have all those issues pertaining to it. And also, if you do deal with it, you can actually go to the VA and get some pills for that if you deal with those issues. That's a lot of thing. A lot of people don't. A lot of people claim it. Go ahead and ask for the pills. It don't hurt any. It just shows you have the issue, and it's an ongoing issue. You could just go file, go to your VA primary, and just be like, "Hey, I need those pills," and you can request those, and that works for you like that. But yes, Marcus, you could just, all you got to do is you can go, if you're dealing with the issue, you just talk to your VA, whoever your primary is that does your VA stuff. Just be like, hey, look, I'm dealing with this, because it's going to be in your rating already. You get, and I forget what it is. You just ask for them and they shouldn't have no issue because it's already in your record, and they'll just give you pills for it. That's it. I don't have, oh, Marcus, thank you for the super. Appreciate you. I don't have any of the documentation for the times I was injured during running exercises. So, Scarecrow, in your instance, what you're going to deal with is that you're going to have to go to a private doctor and get all the shit that you are dealing with documented. So that private doctor is going to have to diagnose you with bad knees or like loss of cartilage or dislocation, whatever it is you're dealing with. That private doctor has to notate all that and diagnose you with whatever it is. That's when I say, look into the Code of Federal Regulations. Look what you can actually claim. Because that's the thing a lot of people don't realize. It's what you can claim. Because the thing is just like some people, when they claim back, they just say my back. You have to say, is it your upper back? Is it your lower back? That's two different things, because there's the lumbar and then there's the cervical. Two different things. So you can have issues at the top. You can have issues at the bottom. And you can claim those separately because it's two different injuries. If you got a bulging disc on the top and you got a bulging disc on the bottom, two different things. You should, the seer, oh, Roberto, welcome to the recruit. Appreciate you becoming a member. It's just like, if your best bet, the seer, how long have you been out the military? That's the question I'm gonna ask. How long have you been out of the military? Because the thing is if it's within a year, you can go and they can do it. If it's further than a year, if you've been out the military for quite some time, go get a diagnosis from a private doctor. Get your information notated. Get your documentation straight before you go to the VA. Well, us as veterans have a lot of issues with that. It's just like they think the VA, look, one thing, the VA is not going to do the work for you. The CMP examiners sometimes the CMP examiners decide to put stuff on your claim that you didn't actually claim. Sometimes with the CMP examiner, like in my case, ankle injury. And then when I kept on explaining what I was dealing with, she noticed I was just like, you're dealing with shin splints also on this leg because of your ankle injury. And she put shin splints on there. I didn't put that as a claim because I didn't even know that was a claim. She put that as a claim, like, hey, dealing with shin splints. So it depends on the CMP examiner. But if you're going into it, you have to have a diagnosis. If you get a diagnosis before filing, make sure you get a nexus letter from that provider saying, hey, I got this issue. This is the issue I have. I've been dealing with it for whatever case may be. The nexus letter, that provider needs to be able to explain why, what it is, what the diagnosis is, what the issue is, and how it was caused, and how your time in service was the reason that this is probably gotten worse, or this is the reason that it started. I was just like, yeah, for knees, backs, and stuff like that, like I said, like we were talking about before, all that rucking, all that running, all that doing all those combat drills and all that stuff, that takes a toll over your body. But you need to be able to explain that. You need to have the documentation for that. You have to have somebody on the outside saying, yes, this is why this guy got injured. This is why it happened. This is what he's dealing with. This is what I diagnosed him with. And when it's a medical professional outside, that goes to the C&P examiner. When they look up your information, all right, he filed for this issue. Now he has documentation from another provider, from another medical person that has that. Hey, no problem, Roberto. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you becoming a member. And it's just, that's what we do here. We just got to help each other out. The more we can teach veterans, the more we can teach active duty, the more we have, the less struggle with people dealing with these issues. The less we have to worry about somebody going 2-3 years waiting on an appeal or waiting on something for them to actually get their ratings. A lot of people, like a lot of active duty, don't know about the benefits delivery by discharge. You can do that basically 6 months, from 180 days to 90 days out of you ETSing from the military. You can get all your claims done. You can file your claims. You can get your C&P exams for mental health and everything you claim for. You get all those done. By the time you actually ETS within 2 weeks or something like that, you're good to go. Maritza, thank you for the super. Appreciate y'all. Man, I appreciate y'all. I really do. But that's something y'all need to do. But while you're in, like all those active duty people, tell them you have to get seen no matter what it is. A lot of people, and look, the biggest thing I say to people is go to behavioral health. Go to behavioral health, whether it's for anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever the case may be. Tell these active duty service members to go to behavioral health. No, I appreciate y'all, because y'all, look, just spread the word, and what y'all learn from me, just make sure y'all spreading it to somebody else. Make sure y'all let another veteran know, or make sure you know any active duty, let them know, so that way they're ahead of the game also, and then they can teach people. You know, just keep on teaching. That's my biggest thing. We keep on teaching each other, we'll help each other out. See, and then Scarecrow, when it comes to something like that, if you've been waiting for that long, that's when you need to make sure that you go to a organization. You go to one of those VSOs. You need that assistance. When it comes to something like that you've been waiting for that long to get something done, that's when you got to make sure and you go, you get assistance, you talk to one of those organizations, and they usually help you fix the situation, or they guide you with it. And look, the one thing is also with all these VSOs, all of them are not great. The same way we can have shitty C&P examiners, you can have shitty VSOs also. Because some of them, hey, you got to remember, you got all these veterans coming to them. There's a big workload to do. So some of them might miss something, some of them might not. The thing is you gaining information and you talking to these VSOs, you talking to me, you talking to anybody in this channel and just asking questions, you can get more information. But at the same time, do your research for it. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's just like, look, I may be telling y'all stuff most of the time. Like, look, if y'all been here before, you can ask Military Mike. He's been here for a long time now in this channel. I tell y'all the stuff. I will show y'all on screen where it is you need to find it. I don't go off of word of mouth or anything like that. Like I said, I'm doing the stream here on mobile and I do the stream on PC. So if you were to open it on a screen or a computer, I also do the stream on that also. So I do it on both at the same time. Off the phone is just I can reach people easier because, you know, people are on their phones easier. On the computer, I can show you, and I can show you the visual of where it is. Or if not, I provide you the link in there so that you can go to the link and verify it and see yourself. I don't like giving information that is just like half-assed and, oh, I heard this, I heard no. I'm gonna give you the information from the source, from the VA, so that way you can see where it is and you can read it yourself and see the information you gather from it. My biggest thing is the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Chapter 4, Part 1. That is what everybody needs to see. If you are filing for any kind of disability claim, read that thing. It'll tell you what it is, what percentage you'll get for what. Like, hey, if you got to deal with migraines, it tells you what it is that, and the issues that you have with migraines that gets you the different percentages. If you deal with back issues, it tells you how much you move, what it is, do you have imagery and stuff like that. It gives you a breakdown so that way you are ahead of the game when it comes to doing that stuff. And that's what people need to realize. Q Hut, great thing you asked that. That's the big one that look, I'm gonna say this first. Well, before I answer that question, there's a lot of other channels that try to gaslight veterans and try to scare veterans into like, oh shit, mental health evaluations. You need to make sure you do it now. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all because I have that link. I have the link showing you when the changes are supposed to happen. Give me a second so I look that up. Give me 1 second and I will show y'all where that is. Because I have that information and I have it and it's shown, and it's basically showing like, hey, this is when this is supposed to happen. You have a lot of channels out here, which, like I said, I'm not a big fan of. I'm a fan of a lot of channels on YouTube that do actually help veterans and stuff like that. But there's a lot of them that are just trying to, you know, gather information or gather more people by scaring them into like, oh, there's going to be a change. You should tune into my channel because there's going to be a change and I'm going to let you know when it's going to happen. I was just like, you just gaslighting people. And just like, it's a terrible thing to do to fucking veterans because you got people that are really like scared for it. So this is when the health ratings, and I'll put this link in here so y'all can see it yourselves. Y'all can go, y'all can click on it. Y'all can click on it, and this is it. The ratings, they've been talking about these ratings being changed since 2022. And you've had people talking and scaring veterans about this whole damn thing since 2022. The official date that is now on record, if y'all check that link and y'all click into it and y'all can read it, it says the proposed final action for these mental health evaluations and changes is April of 2025. Now, there is no specific date. It just says April 00, so the date 00/2025. Does that mean that's going to happen? No. So that's the official date that the VA has given themselves, like basically as a timetable, like, hey, 2025, April of 2025, this is what we have. This is when we believe this is going to happen. That's how they have it as. Now, if you notice it, when you look at it, they've been talking about this since February 15th of 2022. And it's gone further than that. I don't even think they've updated it that. But this has been since they've been talking about the possible changes to the mental health disorders. And it basically says the Department of Veteran Affairs amends the portion of the rating schedule dealing with mental disorders, including revising the general rating formula for mental disorders and removing the separate general rating formula for eating disorders in VA schedule of ratings. The final rule reflects changes made by the American Psychological Association Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 5, which is where they get their information and their stuff from. The advances in medical knowledge and recommendations from VA's Mental Disorders Work Group. So basically, they're overlooking and they are going through the whole system and they are trying to find more information and they're still doing their diligence as to how they plan to change it. They are giving themselves a day as, hey, 2025 of April is when this will be done. Now, since they don't have a set date, this is just like a time setting date. Like, hey, we're giving ourselves to this. And then most likely, if nothing changes, they are going to update that and they're going to switch that again. Now, for that one, they also have it they also made, which a lot of people ain't talking about also, is also the changes to the ear, nose, throat, audiology, and respiratory systems. And this is this link. So I'm going to provide y'all this link also. And this is the possible upcoming changes for, like, when they've been talking about tinnitus, everything with your ear, like the ear changing ratings and all that stuff, and tinnitus being non-secondary or not being a primary issue anymore, and it'd be like a secondary, like whatever that case, and they've been explaining. This also says the same thing. They've been talking about it since February 15th, 2022, and it is now 2025. So let me show y'all this. I can put this, hold on, copy, close that. I can put it on full screen on the other page. And that's where they have that information, and that's what they're claiming. That's what they're stating is going to happen, and that's when it possibly may happen. So keep in mind that is a possibility. It is not set in stone. So that way, now if another veteran asks you like, hey, have you heard when the possible changes are going to happen? You can tell them April of 2025, and it's not a shit can happen any day now. No, it doesn't happen like that. The same way when the digestive system issues happened, that happened on May 19th of 2024. That just happened this past couple of months. And that was just changes to how they did irritable bowel syndrome, GERD, and I forget what the other ones, but there was other changes within the CFR, but they stated that. They let people know and they pushed that out like, hey, this is official. On this day, it will update and it will be in effect. So I was going to call out. The deadline. Oh, see, I didn't even know that there was a deadline anymore. I think, but isn't that, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's a yearly thing. Because you can get the clothing allowance, but I think they're trying to change it so that it's limited and you don't get the same amount. Because they're trying to either lower it, I believe, and that one I have to look into. Let me see if I can find the clothing allowance thing here. Yeah, so it is once a year. So you file it by August 1st each year to receive that, and that's if you have any like you said, skin medicine, prosthetics, or orthopedics. Yeah. So the deadline is August 1st each time to file for it, and then you receive it. Now, when you receive it, I'm not entirely sure when you get it, but that's for the year. So as long as you file for it before August 1st of each year, going into the next year, you receive a clothing allowance if you have prosthetic, orthopedic devices that you need because of your stuff, or it has to deal with clothes because it's difficult to wear them and stuff like that. You get a clothing allowance to allow you to purchase more clothing. So that's also a same thing. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like, hey, there's a bunch of resources and a bunch of information that a lot of veterans just don't know about because they don't hear about it, or they hear about it from one channel. And like I said, it's like a whole gaslighting thing to try to tell you like, oh, these changes are going to happen. These changes are going to happen. I was like, I'll keep you updated, but these changes are going to happen. But they never actually give you an actual date. So with this, it's just like, no, this is directly from the information in the regulatory affairs. This is from the Office of Management and Budget itself, basically stating that yes, changes are proposed. The final action for changing mental health evaluations and auditory, like tinnitus and all that stuff, is set for April of 2025. Keep in mind that they will also put a day into the CFR, because if these changes actually do take place, they have to put them in the system and they have to be updated into the Code of Federal Regulations, which then they will put that date as, hey, effective as this date on the Code of Federal Regulations. Hey, they took my son off my benefits. He's 18, but going to college and living at home. How to put him? You have to contact the VA for that, Brett. You have to contact the VA to let them know, like, hey, you're in school. Now, my question to you, Brent, is: are you 100% P&T? So, because there's a couple of extra things if you're 100% PNT. So, if you are 100% PNT, you have the DEA program, which is the Dependent Education Assistance Program, which would allow your son to get a monthly stipend while he is in school. A lot of people don't know about that one either. So you get a monthly stipend. He gets a monthly stipend, which if he is enrolled full time, I believe it's $1,488 per month that he receives while he's in school full time. See, that's what I try to tell people. A lot of people don't know about all this stuff, man. It's just like, so, okay, Brent, what I need you to do, what I need your son to do, because you can't really do much from it. You need to contact the VA to let them know that he's in school and he is going to be a college student. Now, your son, whatever school he goes to, they probably have like a military liaison or Veterans Affairs office thing at that school. Whatever school he goes to, he has to go through them. Because usually if you're a veteran or you're using a GI Bill, they have an office where you go. For your GI Bill, I have to go every time I enroll in a semester of school. I have to fill out that documentation saying basically, hey, I am a military veteran. I am using my GI Bill to pay for my college tuition. You fill out that document, it gets signed off. Sometimes if you're an undergraduate, you have to get it signed off by your class advisor, basically saying, yes, this person is taking these classes. I approve this. He is going to enroll in this. And then that's how they pay for my school for the GI Bill. Since I'm taking graduate level classes, I don't need the advisor. Your son is going to need to go to that office, whatever college it is. I know they have one. He's going to have to fill out that form. Oh, shit. Let me see if I can find that form. Oh, no, I can't. I wouldn't be able to because it's dependent on that school. So if you look at, what I can do for you is find DEA. One second, I'll send you this right here. So this is the link. This is the link for you. So for any of y'all veterans that are 100% PNT, your spouse and your children can get a monthly stipend when they go to school. The only thing is that they have to enroll and they have to go to the school and they have to notify the school that they are a military dependent, basically. He has to fill that form out. They have to sign off on it and they process it through their finance thing. Their finance department or registrar will process it through his school. They will submit that to the VA and then the VA will recognize it's like, okay, this is a dependent of Brent Harmon, which is 100% PNT. So he is under the DEA benefits. So now when school starts, it'll probably be the first month after. Your son will start receiving that $1,488, which will probably go up once the next year goes up. I'm not sure how much by. I'm not entirely sure how much the percentage is that those get those increases like we do for our benefits. But he will receive $1,488 while he's enrolled in school. And your spouse could do the same thing. As long as you're enrolled in school, if you click on that link, it'll give you that information. Just go through it. And it tells you how you apply. You can apply for it online. You just have to go through and make sure that you're checking with the school. The school is the priority here. Whatever school he's going to, he's the one that has to process that stuff. It doesn't matter. It don't matter, Brent. That's something that people think is just like, it don't matter. If you are a dependent of a 100% PNT veteran, whatever school he goes to, as long as he files the paperwork through that, they submit it to the VA, that is a benefit that comes to 100% PNT. That's one of those benefits that when you're 100% PNT, you receive. You can get paid by financial aid. You can get a full ride scholarship. You could have even transferred your GI Bill to him and he could be using your GI Bill. He will still receive that extra stipend on top of that. So if he was using the GI Bill, he would get that BAH. The BAH would be received. Well, I'm not sure how that works when you transfer it, if they receive the BAH. That's a question I need to figure out. But basically, I'm currently going to school right now for my master's degree using my GI Bill. Brent, there's a bunch of other benefits that you can get while at 100%. You got to make sure if you've been at 15 years. Now, trust me, Brent, I understand that because a lot of people don't know information and it's hard to find it because you don't know. Sometimes you don't know where to look for it. But in that case, what you need to make sure you're doing is what I need you to make sure you're doing is that since you're 100% PNT, go to your state tax assessor when you're filing your taxes next time, whatever state you're in, check to see what property tax exemptions they have. As a 100% PNT veteran, there's a lot of states that give you that exemption there. Also, check with whatever school he goes to, because the thing is that some schools have other programs within them for veterans. Your state may have specific education benefits for it. I'm not sure what state you're in, but like I said, you receive those checks, you have that. That's something that your kids will have. You're in Texas. Oh shit, you're in one of the better states too. Then Texas has a whole bunch of shit that you can do. I don't think you get any retirement. There's no state tax already, so you don't get any property tax. You get a property tax exemption. Now, what the percentage is? Let me see if I can pull it up on my spreadsheet, because I have a spreadsheet I'm working on that I'm trying to get out to y'all, but school is school. Sometimes I don't have the time to do all that stuff. You rent. Okay, so it might be different from there. So you don't pay the property tax exemption. You don't have the property tax stuff. Yo, military Mike with the $20. Appreciate you, my man. I appreciate you, man. That's the OG of the channel, y'all. He's been here from the beginning. He's been here for. I appreciate you, my man. Really do. But for Texas, let me see. I haven't done. Let me see. I don't think I've done the. I haven't done the property tax exemptions for that. The Racing King, what's up? I have not done the property tax exemptions and stuff for the state of Texas, but give me 1 second. If anybody got any questions of any state, let me know what state you're in, and I can try to provide you the link for you to go, and it should be able to explain you a whole bunch of the stuff that you need. So let's see, state benefits. Let's go Texas. All right, here we go. Copy a Brent Harmon. Here you go. That's the link. Don't mind that it says My Air Force Benefits. It's the same thing that I've noticed. I found these links through the Army. Each branch has this whole My Air Force Benefits thing, or My Army Benefits thing, My Coast Guard. All of the branches have this link. Why this thing isn't pushed out more? No fucking idea. I don't understand why that is. But it gives you a breakdown of everything. Look, Texas homestead tax exemption for 100% disabled or unemployed veterans. The exemptions, how much they are. Let me see what they have for education benefits. Texas National Guard has something. Texas Hazelwood Act tuition exemption benefit for veterans. The Texas Hazelwood Act provides qualified veterans a tuition exemption of most fee charges for up to 150 credit hours at public institutions of higher education. Dang. Shit, I think I might need to start packing, y'all. Shit. Designated says as their home of record at the time of entry into. Oh, so you have to. But with this one, it like click on that link and it gives you the information. For this one, it's just like when you entered, you had to be on there. Here in Louisiana, veterans enrolled in VA healthcare can go to any urgent care for free. Is this in all states? So it might change for you, Brent, because it's like it said it has certain requirements for it. For any urgent care for free. For that one, military Mike, I'm not too sure, because the thing is once you're 100% PNT, then it basically does get covered. You just have to make sure that you let the VA know that you went to the urgent care or you went to the emergency room. But then you also have like Champ VA. If you have a primary insurance and then you have a secondary insurance, that usually covers it because Champ VA is one thing. Also, Brent, if you don't have Champ VA, get Champ VA. If you don't know what Champ VA is, it is basically a secondary insurance that you can use and your family uses it. So basically, it's almost like having damn free healthcare damn near. I'm not going to say it's entirely free because they don't cover everything, but you fill out for it. That process takes fucking long as hell. It's like a 6-month process to get it go through. You file for it. Yeah, it's a secondary insurance that you can claim. Because the thing is like, so basically, if you have a primary insurance, you add Champ VA as a second. Usually, if you have any copay issues or you have any whatever your primary insurance doesn't cover, usually Champ VA will cover the other half. So let's say you owed whatever and it was like $500 left that the primary didn't do. Champ VA usually covers the other 500 and you ain't paying anything. And that thing that one is game changing. Because it's just like your family basically, I wouldn't say has free healthcare, but they damn near have free healthcare if you have a primary already. That can be well, it could be, and then Champ VA covers most, or if not all of the other half of what you may have needed to pay. So keep that in mind. But for urgent care, Mike, I'm not entirely sure because something like that is some like the urgent care thing. It may be state specific. I don't think it is, but let me see. And the thing is military Mike, for some of it, it may be that you have to go through a VA connected urgent care. And that's where it has to be. If it's a VA connected one and it's a service connected issue, yeah, you could take care of it. But it's not all urgent cares are not associated with it. So that might be it. Because it's so basically what I'm seeing, but that's the thing. This that I'm reading to you right now is not like a VA conformed search. Like I just searched it up and this is what I got. So basically, you have to make sure that you're eligible, which is basically, and it says that for the first 3 urgent care visits in a calendar year, that it's service related, you wouldn't pay for anything. For something that's not service connected, you may have to pay the small co-payment. But this isn't that. I don't want people to take that as this is the legit thing because I haven't been. I'm looking for it on like the VA thing, and the VA doesn't really show you shit when it comes to that. So this is something I just typed in and searched, and this is what the information is telling me. But it's mostly when it says it does say like it reiterates it like, hey, it has to be a VA contracted or urgent care that works through the VA or has ties with the VA to basically say like, hey, if you're going here, we know the VA covers it. Some of them understand that. I was just like, yes, if you have a service connected issue that you're getting checked out for, they're not going to charge you, but they usually send that bill to the VA. But if it's to the emergency room, you have to make sure that you're going and you're calling. I forget what the number is. There's a number for it. You have to call to let them know that you were in the emergency room so that the VA takes care of the bill. But those are the different instances there. Because you can go to the urgent care and the thing, but it has to be under that, and you have to find it, and that's the issue at times, actually finding it. Because I know I have that. Yeah. Yeah, because it just gives you the find the community-based urgent care. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Getting urgent care at VA or in-network community providers. You're a veteran enrolled in healthcare. You received a care at a VA or not in-network in the past 24 months. Covered urgent care services. This is off of the VA. So I'm going to put this link in here too. Copy. Hey, no problem, man. But yeah, call the VA. Like I said, Brent, call the VA. Let them know that your kid is enrolled in school so that they put them back on your benefits, because they usually take them off at 18. But then I'm not sure if they put them back if they're in college, or at least their college years. But if that's not the case, you still have the DEA, the Dependents Education Assistance, where your son has to file through the school, go through the military office there, enroll through classes, fill out the documentation. Because that's what I do. I go to K-State University. So that's what I do every semester. I do that. I get that done. And I just filed for my GI Bill. My spouse does it for her education, and she receives that stipend. So that's something y'all gotta pay in mind too. So that's a benefit there, and that happens with any of your dependents once they hit. And keep in mind that there are some instances where at 18, their final year of school, they can receive that benefit also. The benefit, I think, is only 36. I think is only 36 months. It's kind of like the GI Bill, or maybe like 48 months. Can't remember exactly how much it is. But Brent, thank you for stopping by, and I'm glad I was able to help. Hey, Mike, that one will get you that one clarifies the information. So it says like covered urgent care services, care for minor injuries and illnesses like strep throat, pink eye, sprained muscles, and skin and ear infections. Diagnostic services like x-rays and some type of lab test, and some types of medicines and vaccines. Oh man, he had to say go Steelers. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that one explains it, but it's those in care. So like in network urgent cares. And that's the thing. I think you can search for them here, because I know I have that in my spreadsheet. They actually have a urgent care billing card. So information for veterans, billing information, region. So it's like a little printout card that has it, and it'll tell you what it is, the PCN, I guess your date of birth and stuff like that. And it does some for like medication and stuff like that. So it does it for medication. Doesn't do refills. There's an exception for prepackaged items, inhalers, and eye drops. Medication must be on VA urgent emergent formularies. Instruct veterans pharmacists to fill prescriptions in the same region as the community provider list. It has a bunch of stuff on there. But yeah, that's what it is for that. Basically, it gives you that information, and it gives you that availability to know what it is, where they are. So that's something that's something there, but that's that little stipulation that they don't mention, the in network. Now, how many people have in network urgent cares? If you're around a military base or a military area, probably a higher percentage. But once you get out the military, it's harder to find those in network places, because you got to remember, a lot of times when it comes to those VA appointments, if they don't want you to drive all the way to the VA, because for some people it's like an hour drive, 2 hours drive, they will try to find a local or someone they can contract locally to send you to it. Like for a chiropractor, you might be able to go to a chiropractor that's closer to you in order to do that. It allows you to get to them a lot faster. So they don't want to pay the mileage for you going to that 2 hour drive and 2 hours back, because That's a lot of driving. That's 4 hours of driving for one simple appointment, and then they got to reimburse you for mileage. With the getting somebody that's closer to you or in the network, that saves them money and it saves you time because now you have somebody that may be in your neighborhood. But depending on where you live, if you live in a town where it doesn't have many resources like that, you may have to travel regardless. And then for some, it's just like a farther trip. For me, like I was trying to get like the massage therapy and like the acupuncture stuff, and the chiropractor I go to does that, but they're not in network for those services. They're in network for the chiropractic services, not for the massage and the acupuncture stuff. So they wanted me to drive like 2 hours to go to an appointment. I was just like, nah, I'll just deal with it. I was just like, I'll just go to the chiropractor and I'll pay for it out of pocket like that. So that stuff like you got to realize. But like I said, there's a bunch of stuff, and that's why I was just like, there's a bunch of those changes that are possibly happening are possible changes. There's nothing that's concrete about those changes. It just says April of 2025 is when you possibly may get a change to mental health ratings and audiology, hearing, and all that stuff. What was it? Did I close that one? I think I did close it. Yeah. Yeah, so that one that's the other change that are possibly incoming in April of next year. So it's ear, nose, throat, audiology, and respiratory systems. The purpose of these changes is to update medical terminology, incorporate medical advances that have occurred since the last review, and provide well-defined criteria in accordance with actual clinical practice. So basically, they're saying is just like, with the advancements of technology, the ratings are going to change and diagnoses are going to change. So that's why I see a lot of people are just like, hey, you need to rush and you need to hurry up and make sure you file stuff now. If you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead, but make sure your shit is right. Make sure your documentation is correct. Make sure you have your diagnosis. Make sure you have your nexus letter. Make sure you have that MRI or that x-ray. Make sure you have all the documentation you need if you're going to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to make sure I file right now to avoid getting there. Because the thing is a lot of the stuff is going to be grandfathered in. But that's how I started. This is how I started the stream also. People need to keep in mind and listen to this Project 2025 thing. A lot of people are not paying attention. A lot of people, us as veterans, sometimes they don't really care about the election and stuff like that. That comes in hand because that Project 2025 is bringing a lot of changes that may not benefit us veterans. Now, like I said, the main benefit they're talking about is just like, hey, everything is going to be expedited. Things are going to go faster. You're going to get your ratings faster. You're going to get evaluations faster. So you won't have those long appeal times and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, that's great. The issue that they're not mentioning or making a big fact about is the fact that, hey, they might remove a lot of secondary issues. But like I said, that would be a whole thing. Like the same way they've been talking about the mental health evaluations and the hearing evaluations and all that stuff. That would be a process that takes time for them to now change all those issues. Because like I said, if they start removing secondary effects that aren't, like, basically how it states is like secondaries or issues or disability claims that do not have to do with the military or did not have any incorporation with the military. Because sometimes, like, hey, like I said, secondaries are done and some of them are not military related, but they are caused because of the primary issue. So like I said, the primary issue being your back, anything that falls after that as a secondary with Project 2025, it may be eliminated. So a lot of those connections that a lot of people like to make when it comes to secondary stuff, like, hey, I have what is it, tinnitus being connected to migraines, and then that being connected to like insomnia, that will be taken away basically. So literally those percentages that you just got because of tinnitus being connected to migraines and migraines being caused, and that might be taken away. So keep that in mind. That might be that might be an incoming issue with this possible change. Now, is it in stone? No, the same way these changes are not in stone and they have not been specified as to when they're going to happen. That's something that people need to realize and they need to keep that in mind. That's what is the possibility of happening. This is what's possible of changes, but we don't know because they haven't specified, and then they just putting that out there, just like, hey, that's a way to get votes. I'll say that. I was just like, if you are interested in, hey, making sure your rating is quicker, gets done faster, you get your stuff back quicker, every veteran is going to be behind that. What they're not making a big fuss about or being spoken about is the fact that all your secondaries may be taken away. And if you take all these veteran secondaries away, a lot of people depend on those secondaries to get to that 100%. Some people have been able to get to, a lot of people get to 100% with all the stuff that they've had documented throughout their time in service. Some people have to make secondary connections because of issues that have gotten worsened because of one issue. Now, if they are removing that whole secondary clause and the secondary issues thing, that is going to be a problem for a lot of people. So if it comes to that happening, I would suggest, that's when I'm going to start saying, y'all need to start filing shit now. That's when I'm really going to say that. But the thing is that's why it's like, it's difficult to say that, because the thing is there's no sure thing saying that that's going to happen. Project 2025 may come into fruition. Maybe it doesn't. If it does, they haven't specified, and there's it's like 900 something pages of changes and stuff that they want to do. It's going to take time to implement that. It's going to take time to say, hey, we're going to change the Code of Federal Regulations and say, hey, these secondaries are no longer going to be considered secondaries, or an explanation as to why these are no longer military issues, because of the fact that they are claiming it as not happening because of the military, but it happening because of an injury that they suffered in the military. And that's why they're trying to change it. So it's just like, you're going to get compensated for the injuries you had in the service, but not get compensated for injuries that arose from the injuries in service. And that, I think that is more troubling for veterans, because it's just like, look, we get worse as we get older. Our ailments just get worse. Yes, it is just a suggestion. It is just a suggestion. But the thing is suggestions turn into bills when the right people are in the place for them. That's the thing. I was just like, that's the problem. It was just like, if it comes to, hey, those people that they want are in those positions, they are able to now facilitate making those changes in those bills. And that's what I say. It's just like, it's not set in stone, because still got to vote, still got to go through the process. But like I said, policies are policies that keep being changed and keep being made. And for some veterans, and a lot of times, we don't even know what the hell these policies are. I pay attention to the Veteran Affairs, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. I pay attention to the bills that they propose, the bills that take action, the bills that get signed into law. Some are good, some are bad, some do stuff that is just like, hey, a lot of the bills that they do pass is name changes for facilities. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of it is just name changes. But then, like, when they did the stuff to the PACT Act, that took some time to implement. The same way it will take some time to implement something like that as a guideline, I would say. It's just, those guidelines ain't going to benefit if they actually come into fruition. That's what I'm trying to just like, so people are just aware of that. There's possible changes, and hey, look, that can be tied into the whole changes to mental health ratings and the tinnitus ratings and all that stuff. That could be tied into it also. It just says April. There's no set date. If you can file for stuff before that, because you have your documentation straight, you have your nexus letter, you have your diagnosis, you have your imagery and all that stuff, and you can file before those dates of those possible changes of being of those possible changes, I would suggest doing so. but there's no reason to rush your stuff. If you have your stuff, get your stuff straight so that when you file that first time, it's not an issue the next time. You don't have to deal with an appeal. Like I said, like he said, he's been dealing with this for 25 years. There should be no damn reason why anybody should be dealing with any appeal process, any process for more than a year. There shouldn't be an issue. Thing is veterans need to also be educated enough and know, like, hey, you have to do it the right way. If you don't do it, if you keep on fighting the fight, but you're doing the fight the wrong way, you're not gonna win. It's just like you running through dirt and you ain't moving nowhere. Or you running in quicksand. And all you doing is the more you keep pushing, it keeps making it worse for you because you keep on dropping because you don't keep getting the right documentation and stuff like that. So that's stuff that people need to realize. There's a lot of stuff that us as veterans need to pay attention to. And it's like, look, you had a veteran, what was it? Brent was like, he said it was like what, 15 years out the military? Well, he's been 15 years PNT, and he didn't know about the DEA thing. He didn't know about the property tax exemptions. Um, what else? There's, like I said, each state has their own benefits. Uh, hold on, let me get you the one for Louisiana. And here you go, Mike. This is the stuff for Louisiana. So you can go through that, and that'll give you a rundown of the benefits for being in the military. Like I said, don't worry about the fact that it says Air Force. I just found that site. Army has one too, but you can go into that and you can get all the information you need that it states for the state of Louisiana. So the state of Louisiana will have this. It breaks it down and gives you state taxes, education benefits, employment benefits, unemployment insurance, the motor vehicle stuff, the health and insurance benefits, park and recreation benefits, miscellaneous benefits, the veteran facilities, and all that stuff. Yeah, no problem, man. But that's something that I was able to find just like searching and stuff, and I was just like, okay, this is actual the Air Force. Like this is a .mil site. So it's just like this is the actual military site for the Air Force, but it gives you a breakdown, and each branch has this. They have their own version of the site, just with their colors or their emblem and stuff like that. But it gives you a breakdown of the state taxes, all that stuff. So at least it gives a searching point for veterans to actually look at, hey, I live in this state. What benefits do I provide? Now, I just need to sit down and make these videos for this and just go down and be like, hey, the state of Louisiana, these are the military and veteran benefits that are provided. Just go down the list and just do it that way. And that's what I'm going to make videos as for doing. Because it is a long rundown. It does have a bunch of stuff. It even gives you the military installations in Louisiana, the veteran affairs facilities. It gives you the installations, whether it's active duty, Air Force, Navy, National Guard, Reserve, and then it gives you the resources also. So it gives Army National Guard benefits, and you can go to that one, and it'll show you what it is. But that's just, I think, like a generalized information one. It doesn't give you like the actual thing, but it'll go to each state, and each state has its own things. Like some have benefits for National Guard, some have for veterans, some have for active duty, and it specifies it, and it lets you know, like, hey, you could do this on this one, you could do this on that one. This one has this one doesn't. But it's an easier way to be able to search for it. I'm gonna try to see if I can use these resources to put it into that spreadsheet, so it's just like, hey, this is something that you can check, but this is Air Force, and I know some people are gonna be turned off by say, oh, it's like this is my Air Force benefits, and I'd be like, I wasn't in the Air Force, I was in the Marines, I was in the Army. It was just like they're gonna be like, I don't want to look at the Air Force stuff. This isn't for me. But it's a breakdown of all benefits, military and veteran benefits that are available to anybody in each state. Like I said, not each state is created equally. There's a lot of states that don't have shit for veterans, and then there's some like Texas and Florida that you could get a lot of benefits from. One of the worst states I've seen so far, Delaware, don't got shit for veterans. Barely anything. Um, Let me see. I could pull up Delaware. Barely anything. So, like, look, for Delaware, military retired pay income taxes are eligible for an exclusion of 12,500, which is much. But they do give you tax exemptions to the retirement pay. So, like I said, it depends. Some states have it, and then it's just like you keep reading, and it's just like, man, some of these states don't provide anything for veterans. That is just like, man, a lot of these veterans deserve more than this, but some states just don't. Some states don't have that much of a military presence, I would say, and that's when I would think it makes sense that it happens that way. But then in other times, it doesn't happen that way. Where some states that don't really have much of a presence, they have their national guard and stuff like that, but they don't have any active duty training or anything like that, or any of the big branches, a whole bunch of them, and they still got a whole bunch of benefits more than other ones. So it depends on what state you come from and what you do, but like I said, if you're 100% P&T, you have to make sure that you look up all those available things to you. Because once you're 100% P&T, like I said, the dependents education assistance, that's a stipend for your spouse or your kids while they're in college. It's tax-free money that they receive for going to school. You got your GI Bill, whether you transferred it or kept it, that's free money to do that. You have the vocational rehabilitation and employment, which is basically another, it can be used almost as the GI Bill if people use it instead of using their GI Bill. So if you are going to go to school, or you're going to try to get credentialing, or you're going to try to get your bachelor's, master's, or learn how to become an electrician, a plumber, anything like that, look into the VRE, the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program, before you use your GI Bill, because you're able to do both. And there are some exceptions to that. So me, I started using my GI Bill. But with the VRE program, if at least there is 1 day left on your GI Bill, if it is seen that you were doing this to gain employment and stuff like that, they may reimburse your GI Bill. Doesn't always happen. I have heard it happen for some people, but that does not always happen. You can use your GI Bill, then you use the VRE, and the VRE sees that, hey, this what you were doing basically should have been used through the VRE program. They may reimburse you your GI Bill. Does that always happen? No. So don't take it as that's what's gonna happen when you do it. You can use the VRE program first to obtain any employment and stuff like that. Like, hey, you want to become a cybersecurity expert and you want to go to school, you can use the VRE program. They'll put you through school or through the credentialing. You'll learn probably C++, all that stuff, JavaScript, all that coding, all that stuff. You'll learn that stuff. And the VA is basically paying for you to get that education. And I believe you get BAH also from there. Now you complete that and you still have your GI Bill. Now you can go get a master's, or you could go for your PhD, which I don't know how much it covers, but probably pricey. You get that stuff, and you get that information, and you get all that stuff done. And it's just like, I'm looking into it. I possibly might try to go for PhD. I don't know if I want to do all that research, but it'll be Dr. Cruz. It'll be Dr. Just Cruz. That has a nice ring to it. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't know. It's a lot of work, y'all. It'll be Dr. Just Cruz informing veterans on, hey, look, if I can get a PhD in veteran affairs, that'll hold a lot of weight. That would be pretty damn good. I'll say that. If I could figure if there is something to do like that, and I could get a PhD with a concentration in veteran affairs, I'm telling you, it'll be Dr. Just Cruz. That'll be the name. That'll be how it changes to Dr. Just Cruz. And I just put it like that. But that's what it is. It's just like all this information is out there for veterans. Veterans just need to know where to look, or sometimes just need to find pages, or hey, come to this channel, learn some things, or go to other veteran channels. There's a lot of veteran channels that have information. How they get you the information, I don't know. I don't specify on other channels. I don't speak on other channels like that unless it's something that I dislike about what they're doing to help veterans. With me, like I said, I'm gonna give you the link from the VA. I'm gonna give you that .mil, that .gov link on the site so you can actually verify and see that it is a credible source where this information is coming from. I don't like looking into what the news says or what possibly may happen. If there's a document that shows from the military that this is what's going to happen, or from the VA, that's what I like to give y'all, so that way y'all can look at it and be like, you know what? Okay, this is from the VA itself, that this is being notified. This is being stated like, yes, you are going to see these changes in April of 2025. You see that for mental health and the ears and audiology. It says April of 2025. Final action. That does not mean that it'll be implemented in April. You will probably see, as we get closer to that deadline of April of 2025, you will probably see more information come out through that website of regulations and what's it called, the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. You'll see more info probably come out as it gets closer, and then they might just be like, hey, final action is now moved to 2026, or it may be moved to this, or final action may get a specified date in April, like, yes, this is being signed into change on this date, but then it will give you that effective date on the CFR, which the CFR does do a great job of doing that. It will update you and it will let you know what the previous version was. And if you wanted to look at the previous version, you can click on it and it'll show you what the previous things was and now what it has become with the new update. Like I said, with the digestive system and the digestive tract, irritable bowel syndrome, GERD, and a couple of other digestive issues, that was changed, and it was stated on there that they would take effect on May 19th of 2024. This was mentioned, though, in February of 2024. So basically, it was giving people a heads up like, hey, in 3 months on May 19th, these changes are going to go into effect. That is going to be the same thing that happens with these possible changes to ear, nose, throat, audiology, and mental health evaluations. It's going to be the same thing. Once those changes are in effect, the CFR and the VA will notify like, hey, these changes that are now approved are past the proposition, are past being proposed, they're now in effect, will take effect on this date. So that's what you got to pay attention to. And hey, if you have like a Twitter or X or whatever they want to call it, you can go ahead and just follow the VA. Follow the va.gov, or follow the Veterans Committee, or follow the House of Representatives Veterans Affairs Committee. Follow those and just follow what they tweet. Sometimes it's good information that they tweet. They tweet about certain changes, or sometimes it's certain programs that they have. If you have certain organizations that within your state, see if they have an X or a Twitter, and you can try to find them. And most of the time they will refer you and push out information that benefits veterans. For some, it's like, hey, we're having this job fair for veterans, and they'll push it out, the information, and they'll do that. Sometimes they have certain things in certain areas where it's depending on the VA, the region that you're in. They might have workshops for veterans to go and talk to VA raiders or VA VSOs, that they just all congregate into one location. And it's just like, hey, you can ask all the questions you need and get more information from these. So that's why I say it's important to just be aware, have those notifications on for them, because they'll keep on posting. I have that in my Discord, that it has that information, that is just like a thread line, a chat thing, that is just like literally anytime one of those organizations posts, it automatically just updates it. So whatever they post, it's on there. They tend to do that a lot. They tend to post daily, and it's just like, hey, information on workshops that they're having, or changes to certain facilities, or something that may be implemented, or they recognize certain veterans and stuff like that. They do that through those avenues, because X and Twitter is like the easier way for that information to be pushed out and people can readily see it, because you can be notified about that. For YouTube, it's difficult because it's like somebody has to make a video talking about it. and then see it. So it's not an instant thing. So that's the best way to keep up to date, because they always post and shit. If you have a senator or House of Representatives that's in one of those committees, follow them too, because most of the time they will post about stuff. Because if that's the committee they work under, that's the information they're going to try to push out, and they try to make sure like, hey, veterans are understanding. Man, Anderson, what up? But that's what people need to realize when it comes to that. You being, the more aware you are, the more notified from actual credible sources, instead of just going by word of mouth. Like I said, if I'm giving you the information, I'm gonna show you where I'm getting it from. I'm not just gonna go off of and just read something from some website or from something I just seen or whatever the case. No, I'm gonna go to the VA.gov, or it's gonna be a .gov site or a .mil site, and I'm gonna show you what it is I'm talking about, so that way you can get the visual of like, hey, this is a credible source. This is not somebody just reporting, or a news reporter that's going to be biased, or whatever the case may be. Push this, push that. No, this is straight from the source. Like I said, that's the rule for the possible changes for the disability ratings that people have been talking about for the past 2+ years. And it's been going on farther than that, because people have been talking about these updates to mental health for years now. We have a date, April of 2025, and like I said, that might not be concrete, and it's not definite that that's when it's going to happen. It could be a definite date as to when it happens, but don't take it as it is for sure. They're saying it's April. That's the deadline they're giving themselves. Now, can that change? Is it possible for it to change? Of course it is. It's just, you just have to make sure you're aware of that. Make sure you're aware of April 2025. That's when the possible changes may occur. But if y'all got any more questions, hey man, have at it. Just ask away. Like I said, with these chat sessions is like, hey, me giving information, but as people are asking questions, it's easier for me to refer them to stuff. They got issues with their disability claims or exemptions or benefits. We can look it up here live while we're doing it and talk about it. And I just try to educate people so y'all can educate more people going forward. So I could just look at stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. We're just looking at it in that fashion, and just letting people know, like, hey, if you got any questions, ask. We'll get you the information. I'll get you the link. I'll put it in the chat. You can check for it yourself. You can get educated. And hey, if you want to educate more veterans while doing so, make sure to do that. Make sure you are teaching somebody. If I'm teaching y'all, make sure y'all teaching somebody else. If y'all teaching another veteran, make sure y'all teaching any active duty people that y'all still know. That is, I think, one of the biggest things that people don't do enough. We got to make sure that we're teaching the active duty service members that are still active, so that they are aware of what's going on. They are incorporated into these talks, so that they have a way ahead and they know what they're doing. If y'all like what I've been doing, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, check out the videos, comment on the channel, like the videos, share the live, share the channel, let people know what's going on here. Like I said, I do these every Sunday. It varies in time. Last week, I completely forgot. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff in the house, and it blew my mind. It just went right over my head. I was just like, oh shit. I sat down at the end of the day when I was thinking about it. I was just like, damn, I forgot to do my workshop. And that was maybe like 9-10 o'clock, because it was just like ongoing, just moving stuff here, fixing here, cleaning this, there was a bunch of stuff going on. But it was just like, I totally forgot that I did the live. And then the week prior to that, I think I was still traveling. So it was just like, that was a whole nother, no, I did that one. But it was just like, we do these every Sunday. I'll put it on there. I will schedule it out so that way, if you stop by the channel, it's there so people can see, hey, we'll be live on this date. I have it on my phone. I have it on the computer, so you can watch on both ways. It's easier to watch it on computer, because I can actually show you the actual website or the page while I'm on it. And it's easier this way to do it. It's easier to do it that way, because you can see it and I can show you the videos. I can show you whatever the case may be. If I have to highlight something, I can highlight it through there, and you can see it on the PC or on your TV on your laptop, whatever the case. If it's here on the phone, you can see me like this. So I'll be able to talk about it and I'll be able to link in the link. But if you view it on the regular channel, you'll see it that way. So it depends on how you want to view it. You can view it whichever way you want to, but it gives you both the ability to see it in full screen. So if I say, hey, let me show you this thing about the VA, or what you want to find, or like what did we talk about? We talked about urgent care today. Going to urgent care and being seen, as long as it's an in-network service, you could do that. The benefits delivery by discharge. If you're active duty and you're about to get out, you can do all this process of disability claiming and all that from 180 days to 90 days from your ETS date, not from your terminal leave start date, from your ETS date. So you got to keep that in mind and schedule that in, because sometimes those conflict, because some people tend to have a bunch of leave. You can't do it. If it's 90 to 0 days from you being ETSing, you cannot do anything. And now you're going to have to go through the process of filing your disability claims through the regular channels. If you do it from 180 days to 90, you're able to do it. You go through while you're in active duty, you make your appointments, you do your CMP exams and all that stuff while on active duty. So by the time you get out, within a week or two, you already have your disability ratings and all your documentation, and you know what you're sitting at going there, and you start receiving your checks the month after. And we spoke about the Dependents Education and Assistance Program. We spoke about that, just basically letting people know, like, hey, you can do this, you can have that. This is what is available to you. Your dependents get a monthly stipend for them going to school. You're able to do that. They have to enroll through the school, and they have to notify them that they are a dependent of a 100% PNT service member, and they receive that DEA stipend monthly. What else did we go over? We went over the rating schedules. We went over the stuff like that, and that's basically what we went through there. 38, Title 30, Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Chapter 4, Part 1, Disability and Schedule of Ratings. Always check that before you file. Like I said, make sure you have documentation when it comes to you filing your disability claims. Make sure you have that diagnosis. Make sure you have a nexus letter. If you can provide buddy statements, witness statements, type them up. Even you can make your own statement also. Put those in though. But if you have buddies and stuff that can assist you in writing that, make sure you do that, because that helps and benefits you along the way. And last thing I would say is hey, make sure you go to your appointments. Don't miss your appointments. If you schedule something, go to it. Get seen. Make sure you tell them what's going on with you. Make sure you let them know, like, hey, you may be feeling okay today, but these are the issues you deal with on a daily basis. This is how your day is affected. This is how your routine is affected. This is how it affects you on your weekly basis of being able to do stuff around the house, or assist around the house, or clean the house, or cut the grass, or whatever the case may be. Yes, you have to be, for the Chapter 35 benefits of dependents, education, and assistance, you have to be 100% P&T. So once you file for your disability claims and you receive your 100%, because remember, there's the different types of 100%. There's the TDIU, which is the temporary unemployment, which is usually when you have the 70% rating or a 40% rating for something and you can't work, you get that one. That does not give you the DAA benefits. There's the temporary 100%, which is basically most of the time when it comes to is basically when you have like a surgery or something, they put you at 100% because they know you can't do it. So that's the other one. Then you got the scheduler one, which is just you're at 100%, but you're not permanent in total, because they think some of your stuff is not static and it may improve, so that may change. So you're at 100%, but things may change, so they leave you at 100%. And then there's 100% P&T. 100% P&T, that's where you get the Chapter 35 benefits. That's where you can apply for them, and that's how you get it. Because once you get that letter, and that's how you know if you're 100% P&T, it'll say educational benefits and stuff like that, and it'll say yes next to it, basically saying that your dependents are available to do that. So that's basically it. But yeah, I'm gonna probably call it quits now. It's been 2 hours. I need to get up, move around. Um, but I appreciate everybody that came in today. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I appreciate y'all as always. I appreciate the new member we got today. I appreciate Marcus Williams with the $2 donation. I appreciate Robert Gonzalez for becoming a recruit and becoming a member of the channel. I thank Marissa Dominguez for her $5 donation. And remember, you are active duty. You got to make sure you're notating everything, get your stuff documented. And Military Mike, as always, thank you for all the support you always give. Got $20 donation from him. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I can't say it enough. Like I said, we do these every Sunday. If you got any veterans, you got active duty that have any questions, send them this way. We do it every Sunday. I know it's going to be sports is coming back and stuff like that, so it may be a conflict of interest, but to help these veterans get better, get their assistance, and these active duty members to do that, send them here or send them to the videos, have them recap the videos or whatever the case may be. Wanda, thank you for the support. Thank y'all all for the support. Thank y'all for being here, and let's just help each other out and make sure all us veterans is taking care of each other. As always, be good to one another, take care of one another, love one another, look out for one another, and stay marvelous. Just Cruise, signing out, y'all. I'll check y'all next Sunday, or if we do a little pop-up stream somewhere around the week, I'll put it on there and schedule it out. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe and make sure those notifications are on. So if I do one of these random pop-up streams, y'all get notified about it. I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. All right, now we still here, but just gotta say same thing. Take care of each other. Look out for one another. I appreciate y'all. Stay marvelous. Take care. I'll see y'all on the next one.